When you say you watched the results, what are you talking about?
Objection is to the form.
That we could finally start getting orders complied with.
All right, what type of orders?
As I said, down into the LRH-COM network, over into OSA, over into CMO.
You at ASI could give orders to OSA?
Objection is to the form.
We could give orders anywhere we wanted to because we were at the top of the pyramid.
Within your personal experience, did you ever have at any time someone refused to listen to an order from ASI?
Objection is to the form.
Yeah.
Give me an example of that.
Well, the first one that really ran afoul of our orders was John Nelson, who at the time was the commanding officer of CMO Int. I don't know when it was that he was removed, but he was removed because he wasn't following the orders.
Objection, lack of foundation.
And were you in an ASI when he was removed as CMO Int?
Objection is to the form.
We were known as Special Project at the time. I only heard about it.
And who did you hear it from?
Terry Gamboa.
And Terry Gamboa was your senior, correct?
Yes.
Objection, I move to strike.
Do you know what order he refused to listen to that caused his removal?
Objection is to the form.
Well, I know he was ignoring a couple of orders that I sent to him. He didn't even answer them, let alone do them. And I'm sure there was a couple of others.
Now, when you sent him a couple orders that he ignored, are these orders that you sat back and just created all by yourself?
Objection is to the form.
Not at the start.
How does that work?
How does what work?
How does it work where you at ASI or Special Project, Mr. Young, would give an order to someone like, in that position, CMO Int?
What time frame? You said you're talking in the present tense.
Is that what's wrong with the form?
There's a lot of things wrong with the form. But what are you asking him? How would it work?
Mr. Young, tell me, do you recall the specific order that you gave to the CMO Int that he just ignored?
We had to get a new LRH-COM International onto what we call on post.
This is a person?
We had to get the position filled.
Okay. And did you ask him to fill that position?
Well, I was told by David Miscavige that was the order I had to issue.
That's what I was getting at. When you issued orders, are these orders that you are being told by someone else to issue?
Objection is to the form.
At the start, because I was not that familiar with how to issue orders into a totally separate unit that I had never worked with. So he coached me, he showed me how to word it, he showed me how to route it, and he instructed me on how to do it.
Okay. Move to strike, not responsive to the question.
At ASI, under whose authority did you issue orders?
Just under the authority of ASI.
Okay, did anyone tell you to issue orders while you were at ASI?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sometimes.
Okay. Are there other times when you would issue the orders all by yourself?
Yes, if I saw the need for it.
How long were you at ASI?
From 82 until I left in 1989.
And were you privy to how much money ASI collected from the Church of Scientology organizations?
Objection.
Yes.
How so? How were you privy to that information?
Because we had as a weekly stat in the weekly meeting that the stat would be broken down where the money was coming from. So if it was coming from an investment, if it was coming from royalties, if it was coming from, we were making money on currency exchange, or if it was just a licensing fee. There was a lot of licensing fee arrangements. So we sat there and finance would break it down each week. Well, we made this week such and such. And it wasn't a case of my inspecting the books. It was a case of just being told each week by finance where the money was coming from.
And why would finance tell you?
Objection is to the form.
They didn't tell me. It was part of the weekly staff meeting.
Okay. And was this money that was generated by ASI? Or was it generated by something else?
Objection is to the form.
I don't understand the word generated.
That wasn't a good question.
It wasn't a question, really.
Was this money, what was the source of it? You made some mention of investments and licensing fees. Licensing, to whom was ASI licensing anything?
We were licensing various, we came up with various schemes.
Objection, move to strike. Go ahead.
Thank you. Various schemes to license the use of something involving Hubbard to an organization so they could use it. For example, we came up with an idea, or I say we collectively, a couple of people. It was Fran Harris and I think Lyman Spurlock came up. They were trying to figure out why could you charge the organizations more money for showing the films that they bought? Because once they bought the films and they showed them, there was no further income. So could we get more money off the films? And they came up with an idea. If you could force the organizations and require that they show the films only on certain approved projectors, and those projectors received a stamp of approval out at Gilman, Golden Era Studios, then we would give the license, and they could sell the license to the orgs by licensing the projectors. And you could do this at $5,000 or so an org or something like this. And so you would license the projector, requiring that they could only show it on an approved projector. And this would generate additional income from the various organizations.
Objection, move to strike, lack of foundation.
How did ASI ever receive any money from Flag Service Organization while you were there?
Objection,
yes.
Lack of foundation.
And could you describe in what manners ASI would be able to receive money from Flag Service Organization?
Well, for the same reason they could receive money from any organization, by just through, usually with those it was just licensing agreements.
Okay.
What period of time are you talking about?
That's a good question. What period of time are we talking about?
From 1982, from where I was most intimately familiar with it, through 1987.
Can we take a couple minutes? It is oppressively hot here.
Okay. And I will be talking to Mr. Young